Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who installed a hidden camera in his home to catch his cheating girlfriend. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. Where the F do I even start? My girlfriend, 20, has been living with me, 21, and my family for the past 2 years. Been together for almost 4. She got into a huge fight with her dad and decided to move out. My mom, being the kind person she's always been, offered to let her live with us. I agreed, of course. I mean, I loved her. Loved. Now, I've always been somewhat of a jealous type in a relationship, but not the crazy kind. The title suggests otherwise, I know, but it was the only way to the truth. My suspicions first arose about a year ago when I was playing this board game Codenames with my sister, 24. Her boyfriend, 24, and the cheating bish, let's call her Stacy. Stacy and my sister's boyfriend were on a team together. And right away, I didn't like the energy they were giving off. She was laughing at all of his jokes. He was teasing her about some shit. It all just looked flirtatious to me, and I wasn't having any of that. That night, I talked to her about it, and she told me it was nothing. Of course. During this time, I was going to school and had a job working as a cook. So I was out of the house most of the time. Some days I wouldn't get home until midnight. My parents worked 8 to 4 jobs, as well as my sister. My girlfriend only worked weekends, and she took her schooling online. My sister's boyfriend is in construction, but his schedule is 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Most of the day, Stacy and my sister's boyfriend were home alone together. My suspicions only grew ever since that board game night. Every time they were in a room together, Stacy would barely look at him anymore. They would make small talk here and there. I could tell the dynamic of their relationship changed. I confronted Stacy again, asking why all of a sudden she was acting so awkward around him, and she said it's because she doesn't want to upset me. At this point, I felt bad for making her feel guilty. I said I'd never bring it up again, and I kept my word. Until 6 days ago. I was lying down on the couch upstairs in the living room. Stacy was in the kitchen, which was half visible from where I was, making a smoothie. My sister's boyfriend comes downstairs and starts making lunch for himself. I couldn't see what they were doing, but I pretended not to care, holding my phone to my face. I could barely see their figures in the back door's glass reflection. They were shifting around each other, trying to do their own thing, when all of a sudden he slaps her ass. At that moment, I felt frozen. Every part of me flared up. After my sister's boyfriend went back upstairs, I got up from the couch, went to the front door, and put my shoes on. Stacy comes toward me and says, "Where are you going?" And I just responded, "Really? I saw what just happened." Then I left and slammed the door behind me. She chased after me, getting all angry, trying to act as if nothing even happened. I told her what I saw, which just made her even more mad. "A reflection? So you're saying you didn't even see it then? You thought you saw it. You wanted to see it just to justify your psycho thoughts." At this point, she's threatening to break up with me, saying she's going to move out and live on her own, making me feel guilty by saying she's broke, that she'll have to drop out of school and work full-time at a shit job. As much as I wanted to just end all of it and let her go at this point, I apologized. I apologized for everything, begged her to stay, and promised to never ever bring it up again. It took a lot of convincing, but eventually she decided to stay, and we walked back to the house. But I knew what I saw. I just needed hard evidence. That same night, I ordered a tiny black hidden camera from Amazon. When it arrived, I set it up in the living room next to the kitchen, just at the corner of one of the curtains. The next morning, 2 days ago, when everyone was still asleep, I secretly took out the chip, put it in the USB, and quickly went through the footage on my laptop. Nothing. I cleared up the space and put the chip back in the camera, and then yesterday, I finally got what I wanted. I woke up before everyone else again and viewed the chip. Approximately at 3:15 a.m., I saw my sister's boyfriend slowly walk downstairs and sit on the couch. A few minutes later, Stacy walks upstairs from our room. She carefully walks over to him, sits on his lap, and I couldn't bear to watch anymore. I was in complete disbelief. The girl whom I spent 4 years with, the girl I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with, cheating on me with my sister's boyfriend. All this time, lying to my face, making me feel guilty. I went back downstairs, woke up Stacy, placed the laptop in front of her and played the video. As soon as she realized what was happening, she instantly closed it and froze. Nothing was said for what felt like an eternity. She started sobbing, trying to utter words until I finally spoke up. "You're the most conniving, disgusting sociopath I've ever met. Start packing your shit right effing now, or I'm sending this to everyone you know. We're done." What followed was a very long, pathetic, sorry excuse for an apology that I don't even want to get into. Eventually, she called her dad. He came by and picked her up, so I guess she's going to live with her family again. A lot of her things are still here, and she doesn't have any friends to deliver it to her, so I have no idea what to do with all the shit. As for my sister and her boyfriend, he's also been kicked out of the house and now has his own place somewhere. Who knows, maybe Stacy might even move in with him. I don't effing care. I'm sorry this happened to you, OP. I understand you going to this length to catch her red-handed. You must have felt crazy when your instincts were telling you she was cheating and you saw things to prove you right, but she still lied and gaslighted you into believing she isn't cheating. In cases like this, only real hard evidence will make you sound sane, and you got that. Your ex-girlfriend is awful for cheating on you right under your nose with your sister's boyfriend, and I'm glad you've broken up with her because you deserve way better than her. Your sister deserves better than her ex, too. Hopefully, you both heal from this heartbreak and forget all about those two. Now for some comments. Bro, F Stacy, at least now you can find someone who isn't a hoe and will waste your time. Girls this age are always doing shit like this these days, acting like the victim. If you accuse them, it's sickening. I became an anxious person because of it, and deep down, they probably don't care. I've been cheated on too by my ex-girlfriend of 5 years. It really F's you up. Makes you question literally everything about the relationship, and you can't fathom the amount of trauma it causes to the person. I'm working on myself, and I hope I'll get over it. Stay strong, mate. It gets better. Just go around and tell people what she did to you. I kept it a secret, and only 2 of my best buddies know about it. I just did it because I was gentleman enough to protect her reputation, and trust me, man, it'll get back to her. Karma is a bitch. Good luck on your healing. I'm so sorry that you've got to go through this. Jesus Christ, that's effed, man. You deserve way better. And you will heal. My ex 20 was cheating on me for weeks with her coworker 30 before we broke up. And I smelled something funny for multiple reasons. But she always denied it, even saying, "It hurts my feelings that you think I would do that to you." And sure enough, she admitted it when she dumped me. He broke it off after 2 weeks because he felt it was immoral. She came crying back to me about it, and we took it slow. A few weeks later, my friend said he saw her on Tinder. I asked what's going on, and she told me she's just there to meet friends, and she's still figuring out her feelings. I didn't buy it, and she says, "This is just another thing that I'm telling you that you aren't believing." 2 days later, I cruise past her house on my way home from work at 11 p.m., and she's in bed with another guy. I told her off, and we didn't talk for weeks again. She still tried to manipulate me further until recently, but I'll spare you the rest. I know what you mean about feeling guilty like you're the crazy one, but I came to realize it's their behavior that's causing us to act this way. So unbelievably toxic. I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Story 2. Some backstory. My wife 35 and I 35 met 20 years ago in high school. We were both 35 and dated for 12 years before getting married. Our daughter was born 6 years ago, just after we bought our house together. Our relationship has never been perfect, but we always worked through our problems. Currently, I thought things were pretty good. I had just received a large cash sum from selling some of my company's stocks. My idea, not hers. We've paid off all debt except our mortgage and a car payment. We share all finances. That being said, I did just come off a round of high-dose steroids to treat a recurring autoimmune issue. During the treatment, I know I can be irritable and kind of a dick sometimes. She knows this as well. For the past few weeks, I've been getting increasingly suspicious of her activities on her phone. Typically, we are very open with going through each other's digital life. Phones, passwords, emails, texts, etc. But she's been reluctant as of late to be so open. Thursday, I had finally reached a point where I decided to snoop. After comparing some text and call logs, I noticed that conversations with a married friend, 45 male, 45 female of ours, had been deleted. He's a neighbor with my wife's mother and has 2 boys who are close friends with our daughter. We hang out at their house maybe once a month, but see them far more often when picking up our daughter, who plays in her grandmother's yard with the neighbor's sons. My daughter's there 3 times a week after school for a few hours a day. I confronted her and she denied. I left the house and went to a hotel for the night. She did try to stop me. After some more snooping and recalling, I found the increased conversation started around the beginning of October. During that time, they texted a lot, almost always late at night after I had been asleep. I know during that time frame they had a possible opportunity to do something more than text on the phone once. The night in question, I can see that she was in the area of his house for an hour. However, she said she was at her mother's, which could be true. That same night, she called him 3 times. This is the only time they actually talked on the phone. The rest of the interactions were all texts. She was at their house a few other times, but this is the only time I believe they both had an opportunity. The next day, I went back home and we talked, and she said that they had started texting about fantasy football. We were all in a league together. From there, it turned into venting about marital problems they both had. She explained it as, he was a close friend to vent to about me and get an honest male opinion. She insisted that the relationship was no more than friends, nothing sexual about it. Wanting to believe her, I agreed to stay under a few circumstances. She had to be an open book and give me access to everything in her life, and she had to cut off all contact with him immediately. She agreed and blocked his phone number on her phone. I verified she did. I ask if there's anything else she's leaving out at all. Now's the time to tell me. She says there's nothing left to say, that I know everything. The rest of the weekend is rather boring. Food shopping, work and kids activities, etc. All the while, we're still talking about it and trying to work through it. This morning, she got into the shower before me. I decided to have a look on her phone only to find a new text message from him. It read as follows. "You okay, gorgeous? Haven't heard back from you, beautiful. Is everything okay with the most beautiful girl I've ever seen?" Obviously, the relationship was far more than she was telling me. I confronted her again, and she tried to explain it away as he was joking around. I don't buy it. So there it is. I've already decided to move out, at least until this weekend, and will be staying at a friend's place. I'll be returning tomorrow to talk to our daughter with my wife about dad not being around. But for now, that's all I can bring myself to decide. What do you think, Reddit? What would you do in my shoes, short-term and long-term? OP, from your story, I understand that you think your wife is having an affair with the neighbor, and you have every right to think so, with how sketchy the texts being deleted seem and him calling her beautiful. Those two have either cheated or they're on their way to cheating. If she were your girlfriend, I would advise you to leave and never look back, because she's obviously playing this game with him, but she's your wife. You two have created a life together. If you want to divorce her because she cheated, then you need to get rid of the maybe and be certain she cheated or is cheating. And if you find that evidence, then you can leave. I believe you owe it to yourself and your child to be sure about her infidelity before leaving. This way, you won't have any regrets. Now for some comments. There's no actual proof that she's been physical with him. However, with everything you've said, they're more than just friends, it would seem. The fact that you needed to tell her to block him and then later you find more texts from this guy is a huge red flag. Your wife isn't being honest with you and likely has feelings for this guy. I would get a lawyer and file for divorce if I were you. You deserve a partner who isn't going to F around on you and someone you can trust. Best of luck to you. Okay, from the information you've provided, there's no proof that she has physically cheated. Although the messaging at late hours and deleted messages makes it seem very sketchy. If I were you, I would confront the man and ask him what's going on. Ask him why he's texting your wife and why he's calling her the most beautiful girl he's seen, etc. That makes it seem very weird. Like they both could just be confiding in one another for advice about stuff that they can't say to their partners. But still doesn't excuse the sneaking around behavior. Maybe take his number, give him a call, and say you'd like to speak with him alone. Don't get the wife involved until you're 100% sure. I think my spouse confiding about our marital problems to someone of the opposite sex would be a betrayal. I'd have a serious chat with him if I found out he did that. If he has a problem with me or my behavior, he needs to be talking to me, not to someone else. I also think that guy calling your wife gorgeous and beautiful is inappropriate. Your wife should have pointed that out to him. If she didn't, you should. All that being said, I think you leaving is a bit extreme. Are you really willing to blow off your 20-year relationship with the mother of your children over some stupid text messages? Short term, I would talk to the dude and make sure he's aware that he's not welcome in your relationship. I would have that conversation in front of my spouse. Then I would have that conversation with my spouse and a therapist, and together we would come up with a long-term plan.